Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a flashlight video. Today we're taking a look at the Jetbeam EC R26. This is sort of an EDC plus size flashlight from Jetbeam. I've been pretty impressed with Jetbeam stuff, and this one did come from GearBest. And there's a link in the description box down below where you can pick one of these up, which does help out the channel. So if you're gonna buy one anyway, then go ahead and use that link. It'll be helpful to me. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about size and weight on this guy. That's the one thing that I don't love about it. Otherwise, I've been really, really impressed with this light. It's a little bit big though for EDC. So let me give you those numbers now. 4¼ inches overall, which isn't that bad. The 1 inch diameter on the bezel is where it kind of falls down a little. To give you a quick comparison, normally I don't do this right away, but you can see that the Olight here, this is the S2 baton, is quite a bit smaller, so it's less intrusive in pocket. I'll move that back out of the way. Now, having said that, if you're wearing looser pants, you're wearing cargo pants, I've carried it lots of different ways and been fine. And of course, it's giving you an awful lot of brightness for its size. So you may want to make that sacrifice because compared to a flashlight of this size, let's say, obviously this light carries way, way nicer and gives you nearly the same output. Now, we'll talk about output as well. In fact, let's talk about output right now. So this guy, I'm not going to turn it on because I've got this in a little box here for recording, and it'll make a lot of light. But I will, actually, now that I say that, I'm going to turn it on to show you how long it takes. So you do have to hold the light down for the button down for a fairly long time. And same to turn it off. So I have before thought, like, is the battery dead or what's going on here? Because you get the light out, you're holding it, finally the light comes on. Otherwise, though, the function is very, very simple. I'll just give you the levels and the lumen count on each of those levels, and then I'll roll in a beam shot. So this guy has turbo mode, then it goes down to high. Turbo mode is 950 if you have an 18650 battery in here, so 950 lumens with an 18650. High is 240 lumens, middle is 75 lumens, and low is 2 lumens for, I didn't give you the times on those, so let me run through those again. At low, it'll run for 250 hours, okay? At medium, it'll run for 30 hours, so that's 75 lumens at 30 hours. High is 240 lumens at 8 hours, and the 950, the turbo mode, is only gonna last for 2 hours. All right, now the one sort of, modification I have to make to that, the one place where I'm going to be a little bit off on this, is you can use 2 CR123 batteries in here, and if you do that, you get a little bit more output, so that takes it up to 180, so 1080 lumens with the 2 CR123 batteries. All right, now let me go ahead and roll in some beam shots so you can see how this guy looks, and I've compared it to a few other lights, some of which I have here. So, whoops. Since it's dark when I'm showing you the video, the comparisons I've got are the Olight S2, the Olight S1, and the WowTac A1. Okay, so those are the lights you're going to see here in a second. Okay, guys, I'm out in my backyard. I just want to give you guys a couple of quick beam shots on the EC R26 from Jetbeam. So there it is on high. All right, and let me quickly cycle through the modes for you. So it's going down in brightness. Now it's in its lowest setting. It should come back. Oh, one more setting, sorry. There we go. So one more time, that's turbo, high, medium, which you really aren't going to be able to see much. Low, again, you won't be able to see much. And there's back to high. Now, just for comparison's sake, I'll give you a couple other lights on the high setting. Okay, so this is going to be the Olight S2R baton. I guess actually this is the Olight S2 baton. The next one is going to be the Olight S1 baton. There it is on high. And I'll shut that one down. Whoops. And finally the WowTac A1S. And there it is on high. And finally, just to give you one last look, there's the WowTac again. And then quickly back to the Jetbeam for one last shot. Okay, so there we go, guys. we'll get back to the tabletop review. Okay, so now that we've seen the beam shots outdoors, let's go ahead and talk a little more about the function, or about the power source, about the durability of this light, and then we'll do some quick comparisons. Okay, so in terms of power source, of course, this does take an 18650. That's the kind of primary size that it's designed for, but it will also take two CR123 batteries. Now, either one of those, the challenge is going to be they're not widely available batteries. Now, the one nice thing is if you put, now obviously you have to put a rechargeable battery in here, but an 18650 rechargeable, what you can do is just open this little side piece and you can plug a micro USB right in there and recharge the battery within the light. That is a big benefit. Now, it doesn't come with an 18650. You're on your own to buy that. And like I always say, you're definitely going to want to buy decent quality batteries if you want any kind of decent performance out of your lights. I would say if this was the only light I had, I would probably buy 2 or 3 18650s so that when it runs out, I've at least got another one that I can switch in instead of being completely down a light until the charging is completed. Okay, so I guess the advantage of this light is you can use it without going and buying a second charger. You can charge the battery right in the light. That's really nice, especially if you're kind of on top of it. If, however, you're one of those guys who's going to forget about it, who's going to run the light down totally, you should make sure you've got a backup battery or two, and that's going to need a charger then, because obviously if you're still using the light, you can't charge the light while you're using it. So that is definitely something to think about in terms of power source. I guess obviously the other option is to use CR123s, and I'll leave the math to you on that. So you can, go on Amazon or whatever, look up CR123s, look up 18650s. In fact, I'll put a link in the description box below for both of those, the ones that I like. And then you can do the math on, is it cheaper to buy a bunch of CR123s or buy 2 or 3 18650s? And do you want that extra lumen output? I'll leave that up to each individual to decide. In terms of durability on this guy, it is, nicely milled aluminum, very comfortable in hand. Fit and finish is very good here. It's 1.5 meter impact resistance. Now, one thing that's important to note, and I think it has a lot to do with this little opening here, there's no O-ring. So other lights that have a recharging port like this, they'll often have a part sort of at the base of the bezel here that spins down or some other way of doing that. By doing it this way, where they've just got the little rubber cover, I think that has a big impact on the water resistance of the light. So it's only IPX6 rated, which means it's good for splashes, it's good for rain, but you cannot submerge it in water. Or, if you do, there's a chance that water is going to get in there. All right. So that's one little drawback, that it's only IPX6. Now, I have to add this here. To me, that is not a huge deal because honestly, I don't know. I don't dunk my lights underwater. I really don't have any reason to dunk my lights underwater. The only one I have is this one, and that's because I left it in my pants and put it through the wash. All right. Now, I will say that was a pretty good test, and it went past with flying colors. But for me, IPX6 is totally fine because, yeah, I could see using it in the rain, but otherwise, okay, I'm not going to be getting my lights super, super wet. Let me grab a couple of comparisons now. First off, let me show you the other Jetbeam that I have. This is the Jetbeam MK2, and I really, really like this light. I've been very happy with it. Next up is the Olight S1 baton. This is the S1R, so it's rechargeable. Here is the Olight S2. I'm trying to give you a sense for size here. The closest comparison, obviously, is going to be the S2. Now, the price is significantly different on these two. And there are some reasons to look at the Olight, okay? Mostly it's thinness. So yeah, you get a little less, well, really you get basically the same light output, but the Olight is much, much smaller. So it really is a small light. In terms of beam and stuff like that, I don't find them that much different, at least not different enough to say I really like one and hate the other. Now, these are my favorite EDC size. I'll move those out of the way. These being my second favorite, and then of course the full size sort of tactical lights being my least favorite. The benefit I find of these lights is you pretty much get the same output that you're getting from something like this in a much smaller package. So let's move these guys out of the way. Okay, so overall, what do I think of this light? Well, I've been pretty impressed by it. It's not too big. It gives me nice, good lumen output. As long as I remember that I've got to hold that button down a little longer than I think, which is, when you have more than one light, that can throw you off a little bit. But also, I've never had this turn on in my pocket, which is definitely a big win. So overall, I'm really, really pleased with this light. You get a lot of light output on a fairly small package. Yes, it's not too tactical, okay, but it's very, very useful. So I think this light is definitely a win. I think Jetbeam does a pretty good job in general, and I've enjoyed using it. I'm sure most of you would find this pretty useful. And of course, because you're getting it, if you get it from GearBest and it's a Jetbeam, you'll save a little bit of money compared to other lights in this size range. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.